Story No. 1. The phone call started the night my brother went missing. My brother Marcus disappeared on a Thursday in November. He was 26. He left work at his usual time, got in his car, and was never seen again. His car was found 4 days later at a rest stop off the highway, engine off, keys in the ignition. Everything inside exactly as it should be. No sign of struggle. No note. No indication of where he went or why he stopped. The police investigated. They found nothing. To this day, Marcus is listed as a missing person. This isn't the story of his disappearance. This is the story of what happened to me in the 2 weeks after. The call started the night he went missing, before we even knew he was gone. My phone rang at 11:47 p.m. Unknown number. I answered and the line was silent. Not dead silent, but the particular silence of an open line, where you can sense someone on the other end not speaking. I said hello a few times. Nothing. I hung up. It happened again the next night. Same time. Unknown number. Same open silence. I stayed on the line longer that time, almost 2 minutes, saying nothing myself, just listening. There was something on the other end, a quality to the silence that I cannot fully describe except to say it felt inhabited. By the third night we knew Marcus was missing and I was not sleeping. The call came at 11:47 again. I answered immediately. This time there was a sound. Breathing, very faint, very slow. In and out, steady and unhurried. I said Marcus's name. The breathing didn't change. I said it again, louder. Nothing. I stayed on the line until the call dropped after about 4 minutes. I reported the calls to the detective handling Marcus's case. He had the number traced. It came back as unassigned, not a disconnected number, not a blocked number. Simply a number that, according to the phone company, did not exist and had never been issued to any account. The calls continued for exactly 14 nights. Always 11:47. Always the same open silence at first, then the slow breathing. I recorded several of them. The detective listened to the recordings and had no explanation. On the 14th night, something changed. I answered the call and there was no silence. No pause. Just, immediately, a voice. It said my name, once, clearly, unmistakably. I recognized the voice. It was Marcus. I said his name. I asked where he was. I asked if he was okay. I was crying by the third word and I couldn't stop. The line stayed open. I talked for almost 10 minutes, telling him where I was, telling him to come home, telling him we were looking for him, telling him I loved him. The line dropped at 11:58. The calls never came again after that night. Marcus has never been found. It has been 3 years. The case is still open. I've never told the detective about the 14th call. I don't know what I would say. I know what I heard. I know whose voice it was. I've listened to the recording I made of that call more times than I can count. The recording captured everything I said clearly. Marcus's voice on the other end does not appear on the recording. Only silence. That same inhabited silence from the first calls. But I heard him. I know I heard him. I don't know if that means he's alive somewhere, trying to reach me through something I don't understand. I don't know if it means something else entirely. I keep my phone charged to 100% every night. The ringer on full volume. 11:47 comes and goes every night in silence. I still answer every unknown number, just in case. Story No. 2. Something followed me home from the night shift. I worked the night shift at a distribution warehouse for about 2 years. The shift ended at 3 a.m., which meant I was driving home on empty roads through an industrial part of the city every single night. I got used to it. You do, after a while. The emptiness stops feeling eerie and starts feeling peaceful. Until the night it wasn't empty. It was a Tuesday in February, cold enough that my breath fogged in the parking lot. I got in my car, ran the defroster, and pulled out of the warehouse lot onto the main road. Standard drive. I'd done it 600 times. About a mile from the warehouse, I noticed headlights behind me. Not unusual. Even at 3 a.m., there's occasionally other traffic. I didn't think about it. I turned onto the highway on ramp. The headlights followed. I merged onto the highway. The headlights stayed behind me, a consistent distance back, close enough to see, far enough to not be tailgating. I took my exit. The headlights followed. Still not alarming. My exit connects to a residential area. People live there. People drive through. I turned onto my street, a quiet 2-lane road about a mile long. The headlights turned with me. Now I was paying attention. I drove past my house deliberately and went around the block. The headlights followed every turn. I did it again. The car stayed with me. Same distance, same pace. Never accelerating when I sped up, never falling back when I slowed down. Just maintaining. I called my roommate on speaker. Told him what was happening. He told me not to stop and not to go home until the car was gone. I drove for almost 20 minutes, making turns, doubling back. The headlights never left. Then, on a long straight stretch, I stopped. I just stopped in the middle of the road and sat there with my hazards on and watched the rearview mirror. The car behind me stopped too. Hazards did not come on. Engine running, headlights on. Just stopped. We sat there for almost 3 minutes, 2 cars facing the same direction, unmoving, in the dark. Then the car turned off its headlights. I couldn't see it anymore. Dark car, dark road, no streetlights on that stretch. I could hear my own heartbeat. My roommate was still on the phone, asking me what was happening. I put the car in drive and went home as fast as I could. I pulled into the driveway, ran inside. My roommate had the door open before I reached the porch. We looked out the front window together. The street was empty. I checked outside for my car in the morning. Nothing seemed wrong. No damage. Nothing left behind. The second night, the headlights were there again. Same car, I was almost certain of it. Same distance. Same behavior. I drove past my house again. Same loop. 20 minutes. The car matched every movement. I went to the police. Gave them a description of the headlights. Make and model. I couldn't say. It was too dark. They logged the report. Told me to call immediately if I saw the vehicle again. Third night, nothing. Fourth night, nothing. Fifth night, I was nearly home when I glanced in my rearview mirror and the road behind me was empty. And then it wasn't. No car had turned onto the road behind me. No headlights had appeared in the mirror. One moment the road was empty, and the next, the headlights were there. Already close. Already the same distance, as if they had simply always been there, in the dark, and had only just decided to let me see them. I quit that job the following week. Told my employer it was a personal matter. It's been 14 months. I work days now, a different part of the city. I still check my rearview mirror more than I need to on every drive home. I've never seen the headlights again. But some nights, on a long empty stretch of road, I get that particular feeling. Like something behind me is maintaining its distance, staying just far enough back to be invisible. I accelerate when that happens. I don't look in the mirror. Story No. 3. The photograph in my grandmother's attic. My grandmother passed when I was 19. She left behind a house full of 60 years of accumulated life, furniture, clothing, dishes, books, and in the attic, boxes upon boxes of photographs. My mother asked me to go through the attic. I was the one with time that summer, and I was close with my grandmother, and my mother thought it would be meaningful for me to be the one to sort through her things. I think she was right. Most of it was exactly what you'd expect. Family holidays, old vacations, birthday parties, decades of ordinary life carefully documented in Kodak envelopes. Then I found the box in the back corner. It was smaller than the others, sealed with tape that had dried and cracked with age. Inside were photographs unlike any others in the attic. No envelopes, no labels, no dates, just loose photographs, black and white, all of them slightly overexposed, in the way of very old photography. They were all of the same thing. A woman, standing in various outdoor locations, fields, roadsides, the edge of a tree line, a dirt road. Always at a distance, never close enough to clearly see her face. Always alone, always facing the camera directly. I didn't recognize the woman. I didn't recognize any of the locations. I brought the box downstairs and asked my mother. She went through the photographs slowly, one by one, the same way I had. She said she didn't recognize anyone in them. She said she'd never seen this box before. We counted 43 photographs. I took them home. I don't know exactly why. Something about them felt important. Felt like a question that needed answering. I spread them out on my kitchen table and went through them again slowly. That's when I noticed the detail I'd missed before. In each photograph, regardless of the location, the woman cast a shadow. Long shadows, short shadows, shadows at different angles depending on where the sun was. Normal, expected shadows. Except in 7 of the photographs, the shadow was wrong. In those 7, the woman's shadow on the ground did not match her posture. She was standing upright, facing the camera. But the shadow beside her showed a figure that was crouching, or reaching, or tilted at an angle that her standing body made impossible. In one photograph in particular, the woman stood perfectly still and straight. Her shadow on the ground beside her had both arms raised above its head. I showed these to my mother. She looked at them for a long time without speaking. Then she told me something she hadn't mentioned before. She said that when my grandmother was young, before my mother was born, there had been something. A period of time my grandmother never discussed. A few years in her early adulthood that she would redirect away from if anyone asked. My mother had always assumed it was grief or something personal and had never pressed. She said my grandmother had once said something, just once, in an unguarded moment when my mother was a teenager. She'd said, "Some things find you when you're young, and they walk behind you for the rest of your life. The trick is never to turn around." I've had those photographs for 6 years. I've shown them to several people. No one has been able to explain the shadows. I've thought about throwing them away many times. I haven't. Yet. I'm not sure why. Something about destroying them feels wrong in a way I can't articulate, like they're a record of something that should be documented, even if what it documents is something I don't want to look at directly. I keep them in a box in my closet. In the dark. I don't know if whatever my grandmother was carrying passed to her photographs. I don't know if it passed to me when I took them. But I've started to understand what she meant about the trick. Some mornings, on bright days when the light is strong and shadows are long, I avoid looking at mine. Just in case.